Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Hold it, you're not that pretty. I'm a man. Wait. I shook up the wall. I shook up the wall.
I bear witness there's only one God, Allah, and Muhammad is his final messenger. That's what I said, Larry, on the bungle fight. Thanking you.
They call me the problem, but you could call me the can man, because anybody can get it. Africans, Americans, Dominicans, Mexicans, anybody can get it.
How y'all doing, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Blow by Blow, episode 5. Subscribe and click on the notification bell. Go ahead and call in because tonight I'm busy with my daughter and stuff like that. So make sure you guys call in. The number is in the description box. Therefore, let's go ahead and get it started.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Davis, Amir, go ahead, call in if you want to talk about anything or debate anything. Like I said, you know, if you disagree with anything, you're more than welcome to call in. With that being stated, let's go ahead and dive into the business at hand, which is the DAZN card tonight. First of all, the undercards were really slept on because we had a lot of great talent. I was looking to see how Ford was going to perform, and he definitely did not disappoint, and he won by spectacular fashion. That being stated, when it came to Devin Haney versus Gamboa, I think the main objective for Gamboa was to hear the final bell, was to go the full distance with Devin Haney, because throughout the lead up, Devin Haney kept stating that he want to put on a hell of a performance and top Crawford and Gervonta Tank Davis. Therefore, obviously Gamboa, he wasn't really trying to win. He was just trying to survive. He's a veteran in the ring. He definitely a guaranteed Hall of Famer. Gamboa is a legend in the sport of boxing. One of my favorite fighters on the come up when he was in his prime. He reminded me of Roy Jones. I actually have a shirt, a signed autograph by Gamboa. So that's one of my favorite fighters. So it was painful to watch Devin, you know, pretty much beat him up every single round. And, you know, at the end of the day, or at least the night, is the passing of the torch, is Devin Haney time. And yes, he didn't get the KO, but he did win every single round. He did dominate Gamboa like he never been dominated before. We tend to forget that Gervonta, he got Gamboa out of there. He hurt Gamboa on more than one occasion, and he dropped him multiple times in the fight. But he left the fight with, you know, like Devin said on my show, with two black eyes. That being stated, Devin Haney, he left the fight like he didn't even get touched. You will assume he haven't even fought Gamboa yet if you looked at him after the fight. So with that being stated, I know Devin is receiving a whole lot of backlash because he didn't get Gamboa out of there, but the objective is to win. The main thing in the sport of boxing is to get the W. The knockout victory is just a bonus. With that being stated, the Gamboa, like I said, he did not let his hands go like he usually do. He was a veteran in the ring, holding when he needed to. He did the action when Devin Haney was looking to press him. So as far as Gamboa, and he did everything he was supposed to in this fight, which is just to survive and go 12 rounds with the next superstar in the sport of boxing. On the other hand, Devin, he put on a clinic. He dominated Gamboa, a Hall of Famer, a legendary fighter, and he beat Gamboa worse than anybody else have as far as dominating him and not receiving punishment while doing so. Obviously, Terrence Crawford, he knocked out Gamboa, but at the end of the day, Gamboa won, I believe, like the first 3 to 4 rounds in that fight. But it was obviously that was a better version of Gamboa, more so toward his prime. Then a fight ago with Gervonta, he dominated Gamboa as well, but he was sleeping in the ring with Gamboa at some points in which he gave Gamboa, I believe, at one point he gave Gamboa free shots, like a three punch combination. Gamboa was able to land on Gervonta because he was just sleeping on the job. So with that being said, Devin Haney took Gamboa very seriously, and he looked good. The only thing, he did not get the knockout, but you're not going to be able to knock out every opponent, especially if they don't come to win, if they just looking to survive. And you best believe Gamboa knows how to survive, and he knows how, to hold in the ring. So with that being said, it was a great night overall. It was a great card by the zone. Devin Haney, he looked good. He had a tremendous jab. The only thing about Devin, give me a second, guys. Make sure you guys call in. Like I said, the number is in the description box. But yeah, the only thing about Devin Haney, it was the fact that, he was landing the jab to the body whenever he wanted to. So that would have easily set up a right hand upstairs. I was looking forward to see if Devin was going to set up Gamboa with the right hand upstairs after the jab to the body. Kind of like what Floyd Mayweather did against Corrales, which is, stick him to the body, then set him up upstairs by jabbing to the body, then going back up top, or feint to the body, then go upstairs. But obviously, Devin Haney was finding Gamboa almost every time he wanted to, so he did not have to resort to his plan B and C. He was able to beat him with his plan A alone. He even actually turned it up on Gamboa in the later rounds and started mixing it up with Gamboa by fighting in the inside, which you will think that would have had favored Gamboa. But Devin is one of them special fighters that he have the whole package. He got every single arsenal. He could fight in the outside, he could fight mid-range, and he could also fight in the inside. So I'm telling you, Devin, he's the future of boxing. I know his nickname is the Dream, but you might want to consider changing it to the Nightmare, the way all of these fighters treat him. They treat him like the A boogeyman when it comes to the sport of boxing. A lot of people say, oh, this is y'all A boogeyman. Most definitely, he the A-class boogeyman, because if he's not, well, I don't see anybody voluntarily, wanting to fight Devin Haney next. At the end of the day, I'm not hyping up Devin. These fighters are hyping up Devin the way they treat Devin, because they looking at every direction but his direction. They have him on the list. He just happened to be last. So with that being said, skill recognize skill. So they must see something in Devin. And we saw tonight what they see, which is obviously the whole arsenal. He could box, he could bang, he could fight in the inside, he could fight in the outside. He hurt Gamboa multiple times. I just don't think he realized he was hurting Gamboa at certain points. So he just, stayed boxing. But I truly believe if he set up the right hand by actually following up after the jab to the body, he could have possibly got the KO. But nevertheless, Gamboa was a veteran in the ring. He was looking to survive after Devin Haney caught him with a beautiful counter early on in the early rounds. So with that being said, nevertheless, Gamboa is a Hall of Fame fighter. Devin, he's looking to be a Hall of Fame fighter. So obviously the next couple matchups are Teofimo, Ryan, Gervonta. That's the fights we want to see Devin Haney in the ring with. And the beautiful thing about Devin is that we don't have to worry about if Devin Haney want those fights. Devin Haney, he already voluntarily said, I want the big fights. After the Gamboa fight, he made it official that he's looking to fight all of the big names. So with that being said, Sparkton, yeah, but he could have been, Gary Russell could have been fighting Devin Haney tonight, but he chose not to do so. You know, so that fight could also get made in the future. Or if Devin can get Teofimo in the ring, Gary Russell is still a big fight for Devin Haney. And we would love to see that fight next. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure Devin Haney would love to fight Gary Russell next, because on my show, he said that he would love to fight Gary Russell after Gamboa. So we're going to talk about all of that. If you want to talk about it, you're more than welcome to call in. So with that being said, you know, this was pretty much a learning experience. Gamboa was just another stepping stone to Devin Haney greatness in order to accomplish his dream in the sport of boxing. So, you know, it was a great fight. It's a great learning experience for Devin Haney. For the people that say, oh, you know, it wasn't exciting or as exciting as they projected it out to be, well, you can't blame Devin. Devin was letting his hands go. Devin was trying to fight in the inside. He was outboxing Gamboa. He was landing. He was trying to push for action. But at the end of the day, Gamboa was looking to survive, and nothing was wrong with that, because Gamboa is a veteran in the ring, and he realized what he's up against. And after, like I said before, he got countered, he automatically realized that Devin Haney is real, that he's as hyped up, that he is as hyped up to be. So, you know, it's easier said than done once you're in the ring with them. Obviously, these fighters, you know, they end up being gun shy. Even Devin Haney's last opponent before that, he fought a tall fighter from the Dominican Republic, and we already know the Dominican Republic produced a lot of great talent. We had Martinez that pretty much beat Rolly, and we already know what happened with that fight. Martinez got robbed. We saw also Teofimo Lopez struggle with a Japanese fighter that was taller than him. But when Devin Haney fought a taller fighter than him that had 160 wins under his amateur records, and he was a great pro, we saw Devin Haney completely dominate him, even though he injured his left hand during the fight. So he made the right adjustments, even though he was fighting a taller guy, a fighter that's taller than him, that gave him, that presented the same weapons that Japan fighter did against Teo. Devin, he looked better against his last opponent before Gamboa than Teo did against the Japanese fighter. So, like I said, Devin always makes adjustments, but just like the fight before the Gamboa fight, how his opponent, after he got dropped, he got gunshot. That's exactly what happened with Gamboa. He was pretty much gunshot, and he was looking to go 12 rounds. So, like I said, I mean, as far as I know, you know, Gamboa, one of my favorite fighters, and Devin Haney, he wanted to prove a statement to show his trainer that, hey, you did not take notice of me when I was on the come up. So, you know, hopefully you take notice of me now. And he definitely pretty much made Gamboa train to take notice tonight for sure. Earl said, does Devin knock out Leo Santa Cruz? Well, at 135, he probably can. You know what I mean? I think Leo, he's not a fighter that's looking to survive. You saw Gervonta, he went 12 rounds with Gamboa when Gamboa injured his Achilles in the second round. So we saw Gervonta a week ago put Leo Santa Cruz to sleep in 6 rounds. Obviously, Gervonta is a devastating puncher, but Leo came to fight. Leo was letting his hand fly, so that leave him vulnerable for counters. And Devin, tonight against Gamboa, he had nothing to counter. Gamboa didn't give him anything. Devin Haney had to work for everything tonight, guys. He had to work extremely hard to find openings because Gamboa didn't give him anything. If he will fight a Leo Santa Cruz, for example, Leo Santa Cruz is going to give you plenty of opportunities to counter him because he leaves himself open because of the fact that he throws a lot of punches. You know, so that's a great question. So, yeah, you know, Scott, that's a great comment. You know, Devin, his style is hit and don't get hit. If you Google boxing, what's going to come up is hit and don't get hit. And like I said before, Devin displayed his boxing skills. You could say whatever about Devin, but one thing you cannot say about Devin is that he's not the future of boxing. Like I said before, when he fought Gamboa tonight, he showed his arsenal all around the board, outside, mid-range, and in the inside. He showed he could lead. He showed he could counter, and he showed he could fight in the inside. So when you're dealing with a fighter that have the whole package, he basically doesn't have chinks in his arsenal. So, for example, a guy like Ryan Garcia, next opponent, Luke Campbell. Luke Campbell, he a good boxer, but he can't fight in the inside. That's a chink in his armor. That's pretty much a kryptonite for a lot of fighters, because once you have that fighter that closed the gap, a guy like Luke Campbell is going to look horrible in an inside fight like that. But Devin Haney, he initiates inside fighting because he's comfortable to fight in the inside, just like he's comfortable to fight in the outside, which takes me back to what Floyd Mayweather told Devin on the come up. He told Devin, to have longevity in the sport of boxing, you got to be able to box. Duh. You have to get hit less. Duh. But also, when you get that fighter that's going to be able to cut off the gap and force an inside fight, you're going to have to be able to fight in the inside and beat certain fighters in their own, in their own game. And I think Devin Haney is fine when it comes to inside fighting. Earl said Luke Campbell versus Gamboa. Well, Luke Campbell got Ryan Garcia next. And, I don't think Luke Campbell is going to be able to beat Ryan. I think Ryan's speed and power is going to be too much. So I don't even really see that fight happening with Luke and Gamboa, because of the fact I think Ryan is going to get, Luke Campbell out of there. It'd be impressive if he get a knockout victory. Andy said Loma, if Loma fought Devin tonight, he would have got smoked. Of course, I think Devin, he could fight in the inside better than Tio can. I truly believe he have more boxing skills. Now Tio has more power, obviously, but I truly believe Devin will beat Lomachenko all day. That's why Lomachenko avoided Devin Haney for a reason. Like Devin Haney pointed out, Lomachenko was in a tournament with him. The whole reason Devin Haney entered the WBC tournament was to fight Lomachenko. And when he became his mandatory, Lomachenko, he waved the white flag and gave up the belt. That's why he ordered a French fries belt, the witness protection belt. Like I said, it's equivalent to that belt you purchased from Walmart to keep your pants up, because Lomachenko purchased that belt. And now Teofimo is actually paying sectioning fees for that belt. So we're going to talk about all of that. But like I said, I see a lot of comments, on my video that I posted. You guys could check it out. I'm going to leave in the comment section below, that people are saying now, oh, Devin, he didn't look exciting, this and that. He was exciting on my end. It's just that Gamboa wasn't doing anything with him. It was pretty much a sparring match. Devin Haney was treating Gamboa like a sparring partner, the way he easily beat him. But when Lomachenko fought Teofimo and he didn't even let his hands go for the first 6 rounds, he was throwing one punch and landing one punch per round. I don't hear nobody complaining about that fight being boring. But now all of a sudden, you guys complaining about Devin Haney dominating Gamboa, letting his hands fly, fighting in the inside and the outside. How is that even boring? Just because Gamboa is holding, that don't take nothing away from Devin Haney. And style makes fights at the end of the day. So, like I said before, you guys could call in, but let's get straight to the business at hand. Now, obviously, Teofimo Lopez, Eve said Gamboa is 38 years old. Obviously, Gamboa is a veteran. He's an old fighter. We're not saying Devin Haney beat a prime Gamboa. Nobody said that. But that same Gamboa with one leg went 12 rounds with Gervonta Tank Davis that have dynamites in his hand. We saw what Tank did to Leo. Didn't Tank hit Gamboa with that same uppercut like 10 times? And Gamboa still managed to go 12 rounds with Gervonta Tank Davis, arguably the hardest hitter below heavyweight. But style make fights at the end of the day. So, like I said before, yeah, he's 38 years old, but leading up to the fight, Gamboa did say that the injury is not going to be a factor. He's 100% healthy. He did not say this is the best shape he ever been, because obviously he's not in his prime anymore, but he was in a better shape than he was against Gervonta because of the fact that he did not injure himself. Obviously, that don't take away nothing from Gervonta, because Gamboa didn't come to the fight injured. It was Gervonta who injured him with his power. He hit him so hard that Gamboa felt it on his Achilles, excuse me. You know, he dropped him and he hurt him. You know what I mean? So that don't take nothing away from Gervonta performance, but still, we got to do factor in that Gamboa had 2 healthy legs the whole night against my man Devin Haney. Earl said, didn't Tank knock down because the Gamboa injury? Well, what happened was Gervonta caused the injury when he dropped Gamboa. He actually hit him so hard that Gamboa failed the wrong way and ended up injuring himself. So it ain't like Gamboa came in with an injury, but he had to fight through, you know, after the second round with that injury. So, like I said, you know, the fact that, you know, Devin Haney fought Gamboa with two healthy legs the whole night. Obviously, Gamboa, he was able to use his legs better than he did against Gervonta Tank Davis. So, speaking of Teofimo Lopez, he has something to say. Well, before I get to Teo, let me get to what Earl said. Errol Spence came out and stated that it's definitely art in holding. He was talking about Gamboa, the way he was holding Devin Haney. And obviously, Gamboa was looking to survive. I told you guys his main objective was to go 12 rounds. So it's obvious that, you know, he wasn't trying to win. That being said, one thing you could do during a clinch is push your opponent off, pull back in a squat position like you do in a squat. And by doing so, your opponent is not going to be able to hold you and smother your offensive attack. Errol Spence, he pretty much he's a veteran when it comes not to allow his opponents hold him. If you guys remember, when Errol Spence fought Kell Brook, one thing during preparation that Errol Spence was preparing for is clinching, because when Kell Brook fought Porter, Kell Brook was able to nullify Porter by holding Porter throughout the night. Excessive holding too. You know, he was holding Porter all night long, but it was super effective because he was able to nullify Porter offensive attack. And the fact that Porter was the shorter fighter and he's very awkward, he makes the fight, you know, some people want to say ugly. I say, you know, he makes it look like Mexican style, but obviously the Mexican style is more of trading punches, but Porter, he likes to smother his opponents. He likes to use his weight and his strength. So Kell Brook, by holding Porter during that fight, he managed to actually beat Porter I won't say in a dominant fashion, but in a clear fashion. It was clear as day that Kell Brook won the fight. So leading up to the fight with Errol Spence was preparing for the clinching by Kell Brook. One way he was doing so, it was, you know, his trainer, Derrick James, arguably the best trainer in the game right now. He should be, you know, the trainer of the year for sure. He told Errol Spence that when he clinch you, all you got to do is push him off, pull back so he can't put his arm around your back. And by doing so, obviously, Kell Brook is not going to be able to hold you. So the main thing about pushing your opponent off is you have to pull back in a squat position. Errol Spence is an expert at doing so. He don't let fighters hold him. And he was able to, get off some lethal body shots when Kell Brook was trying to hold him, that ended up breaking Kell Brook down, which is why Errol Spence got the knockout in the later rounds. It wasn't because Kell Brook struggled to make the weight. It was because Errol Spence was breaking Kell Brook down with body shots. Just go back and watch the fight. It was a spectacular performance by Errol Spence. I truly believe he beat the best version of Kell Brook at the time. But with that being said, that's what kind of Devin Haney has to take notice is you're going to run into fighters that's looking to survive. So when they do try to hold you, you still have to work in the inside. You have to get off the clinch. If the referee, look, Gamboa was using the clinching to save time. So Devin Haney can't rely on the referee to break him off the clinch every single time. He has to learn how to get off a clinch. So this is nothing but a great learning experience for the young Devin. Also, like I said before, Earl, shout out to OG Swag in the comment section as well. How do you duck a mandatory to fight a champ, Joey? Well, at the end of the day, Lomachenko, he wasn't fighting Teofimo right away. He was about to fight a guy I truly believe. I forgot his name, but he fought last week in the UK and he got a knockout victory. Right now, he's Teofimo mandatory for one of the belts. So Lomachenko was talking about facing that guy. But when he received a whole lot of backlash, he obviously canceled them plans and went away and fought Teofimo right away. Now, you asking how you duck a mandatory fight another champion. When Lomachenko won the vacant belt, he actually fought Luke Campbell. The mandatory wasn't Luke Campbell. The mandatory was Devin Haney. But Top Rank wanted Luke Campbell. Obviously, the WBC did them the favor, and they made Lomachenko versus Luke Campbell. Now, Luke Campbell was not the champion. So pretty much Lomachenko was a two-time world champion. He was fighting for a vacant belt. When you fight for a vacant belt in the sport of boxing under the WBC rules, you have to defend your title against two mandatories because you did not beat the champion for it. So because of that, Lomachenko was obligated to fight two mandatories, one in 6-month time span. So he was supposed to fight Devin Haney right away in 6 months time span because he did not beat the champion for the title. He won a vacant belt. So because of that, Lomachenko was like, oh, who is my mandatory? They told him Devin. He was like, oh, no, I don't want Devin. So he purchased the French fries belt, a witness protection belt to avoid Devin Haney. That's how. They were in a tournament together. Devin Haney pointed out Teofimo and Lomachenko were in the same tournament. And Lomachenko left the tournament, gave up the belt in order to avoid Devin Haney. Shout out to OG in the comment section as well. Thank you. Lomachenko was looking to fight Composis. I'm sorry if I mispronounced his name, but that's who he was looking to fight. Now, he a good fighter, don't get me wrong, but obviously when Lomachenko received a whole lot of backlash, he canceled them plans, and he was just like, you know what, I'm gonna just unify with Loma, with Teofimo instead. Earl said Luke Campbell a contender, then Haney a prospect. Negative, because Devin Haney was already a contender when he became Lomachenko mandatory. And remember, Luke Campbell came off a loss. He was coming off a loss to Linares. So how you automatically get another shot at a title when you just lost to Linares? But Lomachenko wanted to fight Luke Campbell. He did not want to fight Devin Haney. Devin Haney and Luke Campbell were supposed to fight for that vacant title, but Lomachenko jumped in and stole the opportunity, and he chose Luke Campbell instead of Devin Haney. But so like I said, at the end of the day, takeaways for Devin. This is nothing but a learning experience. Like Earl said, you're going to run into fighters that's looking to hold. So you have to fight your way out of the clinch. You can't depend on the referee every single time, because the referee, every time he's, breaks a clinch, that's time that your opponent is killing off the clock. So you have to fight your way out of the clinch by pulling back in a squat position, you know, throwing body shots, which Devin Haney actually adjusted during the fight. And in the later rounds, I believe the 11th and 12th round, actually Devin Haney was digging to the body. He was fighting out of the clinch. That's the great thing about Devin Haney, is that he's always making adjustments on the fly. He's only getting better. He's only 21 years old. So that's why I said certain takeaways is fighting off the clinch. I think he's going to be a better fighter fighting off clinches, stuff like that, because he that unique fighter that could fight in the outside and also in the inside. Also, when you jabbing your opponent to the body, it would be lovely if you follow the jab with the right hand upstairs, or feint to the body, then go with, follow up with the right hand upstairs. Because if your opponent is already biting off the jab, you could easily set them up for a hook or a right hand upstairs. And Devin, man, the way he be landing the jab to the body with ease, he lands it without an issue. Like, it's only a few fighters that could throw that jab like a Floyd Mayweather to the body, and Devin Haney could do that. So I believe in the future, man, Devin Haney is definitely a problem in the sport of boxing. Gamboa is coming off, Earl said, Gamboa is coming off a loss too, but fought Haney. Yeah, but this is a different situation. This is a unique situation. The only reason Gamboa is fighting Devin Haney is because Luke Campbell turned down the fight. Ryan Garcia doesn't want to fight Devin Haney next. Linares and Fortuna don't want to fight Devin Haney next. They all want to fight each other instead of fighting Devin Haney next. I mean, think about it, guys. When you could fight the champion right away, but these fighters choose to fight each other in order to fight for the mandatory position. But hey, they could go ahead and fight the champion right away. Well, if you may ask, why is that? Because Devin Haney is the A-class boogeyman in the sport of boxing. All these fighters rather fight each other than fight him when he's the one with the belt, when they supposedly fighting for position. So that's why, my brother. So when it came to, Linares, when it came to Luke Campbell fighting Lomachenko, he was coming off a loss. But Lomachenko had other options. He had Devin Haney as an option, who was his mandatory. On the other hand, Devin Haney had no other option. When you're the boogeyman, when you're the A-class boogeyman, the question is not who you're going to fight next. The question is, who is willing to fight you next? So it don't matter who you fight, because you have to stay busy. It don't matter who you fight. You have to stay busy because nobody's willing to fight you. Evis, my brother's just blessing me. I appreciate it, man. Like I said, I appreciate the love and support and all the super chats. OG Swag, we're gonna talk about it, OG. We're gonna talk about it, OG. I'm definitely covering that topic. Earl, by the way, you could call in too. We could have this chat if you wanna call in, it'd be better. But yeah, I appreciate the love though. Haney really WBC champion, bro? Question mark. Like legit top at 135? Question mark. Yeah, he has the real WBC title. The WBC made it official that the Devin Haney title is the official title. The French Fries title is a mandatory title. So if Teofimo, for example, want to fight Devin Haney next, all he have to do is activate his mandatory position in order to fight the real champion, Devin Haney. So no, Teofimo Lopez is not undisputed. Yes, sir. Yes. Davis, you know what time it is. He said Loma gave up the belt. That's exactly what Lomachenko did. But speaking of Teofimo, he tweeted again. Need I say more? Hold on, excuse me. Teofimo tweeted again. Need I say more? Question mark. Undisputed lightweight champion. Hashtag the takeover. Well, we're gonna have to start calling Teofimo the taking parts. Now he's not taking over, because if you want to take over, he have to see Devin Haney, because Teofimo also called him an email champion, and he stated, and he posted a picture of Devin Haney in which he said email champion performance. But again, who petitioned for the French fries title? We already knew what the French fries title represented from the jump, a witness protection belt. And Teofimo, he petitioned for the title through email. I know he didn't call the WBC president. He obviously had to email the WBC president. He petitioned for the title. Devin Haney did not petition for any title. He did not email anything. It was Teofimo who emailed the WBC to petition for the title. And I like Teofimo, but I got to call a spade, and he's not undisputed. He know that better than I do, because like I said before, hold on. Earl said Lopez holds IBF, WBA, WBO, lineal, but not the top guy, question mark. Teofimo is definitely the top guy in the lightweight division. There's no but what if about it. But what we saying is, Teofimo said his dream is to be, Teofimo said his dream is to be undisputed in 2 different divisions back to back. Now, let's look at the landscape in the sport of boxing. Lopez, he have 3 titles at 135. At 140, we have Rosario and Taylor. They supposed to fight for undisputed next. The fight is not yet official, but once they fight each other, we're going to have an undisputed champion at 140. So, for the meantime, what is Lopez going to do if he moves to 140 right away? He's not going to be able to fight for undisputed right away like he's planning to do, because Taylor and Rosario haven't fought yet. Plus, he have unfinished business at 135. He's not undisputed at 135, according to the record books. Let me explain. If you Google BoxRec, ESPN, Wikipedia, any website you prefer when it comes to the sport of boxing, all you have to do is Google it and see who's the champions at 135. You will see Teofimo, and you will also see Devin Haney. Teofimo has the Super WBA title, the IBF title, the WBO title, but he does not have the WBC title. The last piece of the puzzle, Devin Haney has it right now. So in order for him to be the takeover, he has to fight Devin Haney in order for him to take over. Right now, he's taking parts. As far as I know, Teofimo is taking parts. Now, for the people that would like to disagree, you can't have 2 champions under one banner. Let me explain. The other organizations don't recognize the WBC French fries title as a real title, because you only can have 1 title per organization as the real title. You could have a secondary title, like, for example, a mandatory position, a diamond belt, or even the way the WBA has it, where Gervonta is the regular champion, but he's not the super champion, because in the WBA, they chose the super title as the real title. However, the WBA title, they chose that as a regular title. You're not really the champion until you face the super title. The regular title makes you the mandatory for the super title. However, the WBC have it differently. They have it where the WBC regular title is the real title, and the French fries title is the secondary title. But if you want to win the real title, you could activate your mandatory position at any time. So Teofimo can make this fight happen. Like I said before, the other organizations don't recognize the French fries title as the real title. The IBF, the WBA, the WBO, they all don't recognize the WBC French fries title as the real title. Boxing record books don't recognize the French fries title as the real title, because we all know what it is. It's a witness protection belt. It's equivalence to that belt you purchased from Walmart to keep your pants up. Think about it. How are you going to have a title but no mandatories? So how are you going to defend the title? What's the purpose of a title if you can't defend it against the come-ups? That's why it's a French fries title. That's why it's a witness protection belt in order to avoid these fighters on the coincidental list. So, like I said, Teofimo is not undisputed. He unified champion. Even ESPN have him listed as as unified, and on their page they have the WBC champion as Devin Haney. So I hope that answers your question. Joey said, by the way, you guys could call in and make it easier on me. But I appreciate the love. So I'm going to answer the question for you guys. But before I answer your question, my brother, let me go ahead and mention what Devin said. Devin Haney said that he want Teofimo Lopez next. That's the fight he want next. He officially focusing on Teofimo. That's his main objective. He want to fight Teofimo for undisputed because the WBC even made it official that the real title is the WBC regular title that Devin Haney has right now. So also Devin Haney mentioned that, well, let me answer your question first. Joey said, wouldn't you say Haney is no more WBC champion than Lopez? ? After all, Lopez beat the man. Not blaming Haney, but honestly, neither one really holds it. Haney may got the belt, but Lopez won the title. No, that don't make no sense for Devin Haney to have the belt and Lopez to win the title. Lomachenko was never the WBC title going into the fight with Teofimo Lopez. Again, let me explain. The other organizations don't recognize the WBC French fries belt as a real title because you only can have one champion per organization. So the IBF, the WBO, and the WBA don't recognize the WBC French fries title as a real title. They only recognize the WBC title as a regular title. And also, Suleiman confirmed that the WBC title that Devin Haney has, the regular title, is the official real title under the WBC. That's the real champion under their organization. Now, Lomachenko, he was supposed to fight Devin Haney right away, including let me put it to you this way. Teofimo and Lomachenko, they were both in the same tournament as Devin Haney. They elected to leave the tournament because they didn't want to fight Devin Haney, according to Devin. Devin said that there was a tournament. Lomachenko and Teofimo left the tournament. Now, obviously, Lomachenko, he was a champion, a two-time world champion at 135. He ended up fighting for a vacant title, the WBC vacant title against Luke Campbell, when he was supposed to fight Devin Haney, not Luke Campbell, because Devin was the mandatory. Luke Campbell was coming off a loss to Linares, but Lomachenko refused to fight Devin, and he chose to fight Luke Campbell. But when you, according to the rules under the WBC, you are obligated to fight two mandatories if you win a vacant belt, in which Lomachenko ended up winning a vacant belt. But because Lomachenko wanted no smoke with Devin Haney, he ended up vacating the WBC title. He ended up pretty much doing, well, he obviously purchased a French fries belt, a witness protection belt, to avoid Devin Haney. So going into the Lopez fight, he was never the WBC champion. It's a secondary title. The French fries title is like an interim title. You could activate it anytime you want to fight the real champion that holds the regular WBC title. So that's why Devin Haney came out and said Teofimo Lopez, he's pretty much brainwashing the fans by mentioning all this email talk. Because, like I said before, it was Teofimo who petitioned for the WBC French fries title through email. So who is really the email champion? So in order for Teofimo to be undisputed, in order for him to be the real takeover, he have to see Devin Haney. For now, he's taking parts. He's not taking over until he fight Devin Haney. So with that being said, you know, what's the point for Lopez to move up to 140 if he can't fight for undisputed there? And he's not even undisputed at 135. So the obvious thing to do is for Devin Haney and Teofimo to fight each other, because Teofimo said his dream is to be undisputed in 2 different divisions back to back. But his dream is not going to become a reality if he move up to 140 right away, since he's not even undisputed at 135 yet. And ironically, Devin nickname is the Dream. So for Teofimo dream to come true, he have to face Devin Haney and beat Devin Haney in order to move up in weight and fight the winner of Taylor versus Rosario. But it's useless right now to move up because they're not even fighting each other yet. So he could go ahead, take care of business, fight Devin Haney, become undisputed if he's able to beat Devin Haney, then move up to 140. After all, we all know Taylor, I got him on my pound for pound list at 140. He won the tournament. He deserved his position, but he's not a big name. So why would you fight somebody? Obviously, it's a legacy fight, but he don't even have a big name. Devin Haney is a bigger name than Taylor. That fight is bigger than Taylor right now. So why move up to 140 when you have unfinished business at 135? Earl, so is Tank the real WBA champion? Question mark. Well, under the WBA, they have different rules. The WBA, they said that they recognize the super title as the real title, not the regular title. And the WBC said that they recognize the regular WBC title as the real title. The French fries title is not a real title, is a trophy, because you can't fight your mandatory. You don't have no mandatory, so you're not obligated to fight anybody. Plus, even the WBA in the past, they used to have it where you have to defend your title up to 10 times to be a super champion. But now, obviously, in the sport of boxing, they're just giving titles away. That's why Floyd Mayweather is complaining about there's too many belts in boxing. Man. So, like I said, Devin Haney said that Teofimo is brainwashing the fans by all this email talk when he's the one that petitioned for the title through email. So who is really the email champion? This fight is the fight to be made next because of the obvious reason. Most likely Gervonta and Ryan going to fight each other. So why not get Teofimo in the ring with Devin for undisputed? That's the fight to see for all marvels, for all the belts, for undisputed. Since Teofimo's dream is to be undisputed, fight the Devin. He need to fight Devin, the Dream Haney. So, like I said, though, when it comes to Devin Haney, he might want to consider changing his nickname to the Nightmare, because these fighters treating him like the Nightmare. How you doing, Aki? Who this is, and where you calling from?
It's a dude, Mello, calling from Chicago, bro.
What's going on, Mello? Rest in peace,
Yeah,
King
man,
Von.
Hey, man, rest in peace to King Von. Of course, man. I just need you to be more transparent with what you talking about, man, because it's like if the sanctioning bodies make the rules, it's like I don't see you really putting any responsibility on the sanctioning bodies, bro. You got to be transparent with the information. Like you saying, people ducking. If you know they on the same, like Top Rank had Lomachenko and they had Teofimo. That fight been building for, if you a boxing fan, bro, you've been watching, I watch your channel, you got to be transparent. They've been building that fight for how long? And they was in a tournament. That's why they both left the tournament, because Bob Brown was, matter of fact, it's an interview floating around somewhere when he was telling Devin Haney, Bill Haney, like, you ain't going to get the shot because my guy's fight. So I, as a fighter, as a coach, my son's a fighter, I just think when all these kids and the youngers out here watching, you calling people ducks, bro, I don't know if you fight, if you got experience fighting, or you just a commentary.
Did I call somebody a
You
duck?
said Lomachenko. Look, you said Lomachenko duck Devin Haney, bro.
If
he the mandatory,
I'm gonna get to that. But let me read the super chat real quick. All right. But Earl
go ahead, read it, bro.
Sadly, Davis Ryan Loma Part 2 is bigger for Teofimo. But for Teofimo to be undisputed, he have to fight Devin Haney to be undisputed. But let me first of all get to what you got to say. Now, first of all, let's get straight to it. Now, when it came to Lomachenko, it's clear as day that he ducked Devin Haney because he requested a belt in order to avoid Devin Haney. He gave up a belt. And if that ain't ducking, I don't know what it is. Now, when it comes to people, hold on.
His people gave up the belt, bro, because they was making a fight, bro. Obviously, that you can make it seem that way, but if Top Rank already got a plan, and they reach out to WBC, the organization don't have to make that request, bro. The organization has to stay within the rules that they originally had from the foundation of it, bro.
Okay, following up to that.
You ain't put no responsibility in the organization, brother. Keep it real.
Okay, holding up to that. If that's what you're going to say is, okay, they gave up the belt, but they obviously gave him a French fries belt to save face. If you want to give up a belt, that's fine. But they confusing the boxing fans because now they saying they got 2 titles when the French fries title is not a real
that's
title.
What I'm saying, bro.
All right, cool.
Right, that's what I'm saying. They didn't have to give no belt, bro. They didn't have to give a belt. You just said they didn't have to give a belt. So you saying somebody ducking when they trying to make another fight because they money over there, bro. They ain't trying to fuck up their business. But now you saying, oh man, they made a French. They should have made a French fries belt, bro.
All right. Right? So they should have made the French fries belt, right? So
right, we agree on that.
I agree.
So how somebody ducking?
Are you gonna let me talk?
Go ahead. You agree, Teofimo, what, bro?
I said before, I'm not gonna criticize Teofimo for going the Lomachenko route. I said that plenty of times because if I was in his position, I would have did the same thing because fighting Lomachenko was the legacy fight because they hyped up Lomachenko to be this next great thing. So I never cried.
Obviously, with 2 losses, still on the pound for pound list.
But I never criticized Teofimo for going that route. I said more than one occasion that I understand why Teofimo fought Lomachenko and going that route, leaving the WBC tournament because I would have did the same thing. And obviously, the Devin Haney fight still could happen. That ain't an issue. But Teofimo did beat Lomachenko, so that's cool.
True.
But now, in order for Teofimo to be undisputed, he has to fight Devin Haney. So Teo didn't avoid Devin Haney. Fine.
Right, he got to because he has the regular belt, or not like you say the French fries belt. He got the regular belt.
Right.
And allegedly that shit, the franchise one is supposed to be transferable. So that's the whole point. You got to. My whole point is this, bro. You got to put more emphasis on the organizations, bro.
Hold on. Did I not call out the WBC for doing that?
You fell in the fence, bro. You can't call somebody a duck because they handle their business.
No,
when the WBC let them do that, bro.
No. Lomachenko requested the title.
Real, bro.
Hold on. Lomachenko requested the title.
Oh, as a fighter, he's not going to do that.
Lomachenko requested
he's not going to do that. He ain't getting no doing that shit, bro.
Answer the question. Didn't Lomachenko request the title?
Care about that shit.
Didn't Lomachenko request the title?
Bro, he did not do it. Has he ever came out, like they say, you got to hear from the horse's mouth. That man ain't never, when they asked him, bro, he acted like he didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, he requested the title. No. He could give up the belt. Ain't no problem about it.
He said himself.
He
said it himself. He said, I requested the title. He said it himself.
Top rank.
The people he works for, bro. It's not him.
Okay.
That's like my job saying something for me, bro, when I'm not agreeing.
Stop speaking for him. You don't put yourself in his position. The WBC, they said that Lomachenko requested the title. And Top Rank said that Lomachenko requested the title. So
that's like my work putting out a statement for me.
I could care less about that. I want facts. I bring facts to the table. It's the WBC
but
and
you ain't got
rank.
No facts. He said it, bro.
I got facts. I got facts. I got facts that he requested it. Why he don't come and say he don't request it? I got facts. He said that he requested it by the WBC and Top Rank. Why will Top Rank lie? Why will Top Rank lie on their own fighter?
Bro, why would they lie? Because they trying to make. They say, bro, because they made an in-house fight. They can say that. They can say, oh man, he requested that.
At the end of the day,
and to that man come out, bro. To that man come out and say, that's what I did, bro. You can't really. You can make an assumption.
Why he didn't defend himself? Why he don't defend himself and say he didn't request it? Why he don't come out and defend himself if it's not true? The WBC came out and put him on blast. They said Canelo and Lomachenko requested these titles. It ain't just Lomachenko, it's also Canelo, but we ain't gonna talk about Canelo right now. We're talking about Lomachenko. The WBC said Lomachenko requested the title. Top Rank agreed. So why he don't defend him? Why he don't defend himself and say that's bullshit?
If I'm innocent, I don't got to come out and prove that I'm innocent.
That's bullshit. That's bullshit. Because if your girl asking you, if your girl accusing you of cheating, if she tell you cheated on me with so and so, ain't you gonna say hell no?
Just like Wilder accused me of cheating out here.
No. Hold on. Ain't you gonna respond to that question? If your girl tell you, did you cheat? Ain't you gonna respond to that question? Ain't you gonna say? Ain't you gonna say no? I didn't.
If my girl got common sense, we trust each other, believe each other, she shouldn't be asking me that damn question, bro. That's how I treat a situation like that.
Are you gonna answer the question? Are you gonna? Oh no, it ain't no response. If she showing you a picture, with another girl,
that's different. Now you saying proof, that's different, bro.
Exactly.
She's showing me proof, I gotta respond.
Exactly. The WBC said.
But you said
hold on. The WBC said that Lomachenko requested it. The Top Rank said that they requested it. So that's proof. Like you said, and Lomachenko didn't say anything, so he obviously did. So you can't speak for him.
A lot of shit,
so
bro.
You can't speak for him. All right. Hold on. So okay, cool. I already proved you wrong on that, but let's go on to the next thing. Teofimo beat Lomachenko. He got 3 titles, right?
Beat the man.
He got 3.
He the man who beat the man.
All right. He got 3 titles, right?
He got 2.
He got 2. All right, fine. So if Teofimo wanna be undisputed, doesn't he have to face Devin Haney next?
I agree with you on that, bro. My whole point was saying, I just feel like before you saying fighters duck, even though you say you got your proof and you stand on your proof, I'm not going to argue with that because you made a good point, but I still feel like my point is strong. But you're right about that. I can't argue with you about that, bro.
You're entitled to your own opinion, my brother. I'm not going to disagree with your
own opinion. You're right about that, brother.
I bring facts. I'm talking about facts. You're talking about opinion. That's cool. But I'm talking about facts.
He needs
talk
to fight Devin Haney because Devin Haney was the mandatory. But Devin Haney and them got to understand they can't talk about when people come for the contract.
Let's talk about Teofimo.
He got 2 belts.
Let's talk about
the terms on Teofimo. He the A side, if anything. He gon' whatever shots he got 60-40, however they want to split. They cool with each other. They want to make a better deal.
That ain't
That's
no
cool.
problem. The business they could take care of the business. I'm asking you, if Teofimo move up to 140 and he doesn't fight Devin Haney next, are you gonna call him out for avoiding Devin Haney?
Because he said out his own mouth that he wanted him next. I don't want to hear he had to do it for the business or he can't make the weight no more. Once you're a man and you say something as a man, you say you want the email champion. If you just talking shit, whatever, bro, go ahead and back that up and just prove it now. All he got to do is prove it.
That's all I'm saying. I never criticized.
He knocked Haney off. He knocked Haney off. Then can't nobody say nothing. Like you said, I want to end his little legacy with Mayweather.
Yeah. I never said Teofimo duck Devin Haney. I said Teofimo went the smart route. I never criticized him for choosing that route. But now it's time to fight Devin Haney because he keep calling him email champion. So go ahead and get the email champion out of the way. Teofimo actually called out Devin Haney his last fight. He said that's the fight he won. Now Devin Haney said the same thing. But now you see him tweet. He said, I'm already undisputed. Like he pretty much saying, I don't got to fight Devin Haney. So what's your comments on that?
Can you repeat that, man? What's my comments on the Devin Haney? Like I said, if he moved, he moved.
No. I'm saying we already know that he went the smart route. There's nothing wrong with that. But now it's the time to make the fight. Teofimo called out Devin Haney his last fight. Now Devin Haney calling out Teofimo. However, it seems like Teofimo is not looking to fight Devin now because he said he's already undisputed. In other words, he don't gotta fight Devin Haney because he already a champion. He already got the WBC franchise title, so he's trying to say that's the real title. So he don't want to fight Devin Haney, or that's at least that's what he's saying on Twitter. So, what's your take on him saying that?
Like I say, man, you can't go back on your word. If you say something, I'm going off what you say off the jump. If you say you're gonna fight the man and he the email champ, then prove he the email champ. Go get the other belt. and it'll be settled from there. Then he can go move up. If you got unsettled business, unless the business of like with Bob Arum, like I said, they trying to make them in-house fights. He'll probably reach out to Eddie and try to make a fight with Ryan. Hopefully, like you said, the Tank and Ryan. I'd rather see Tank and Ryan and Teofimo and Devin. That's the two, and then the winners can meet up if he's willing to stick around. Whatever happened with Devin, but if he moves, bro, that's a chump move. Now I don't care if you call him a duck or you call people ducks, because that's an obvious duck. You said you was gonna fight him. You said he emailed champ. You talking trash. You on Twitter talking whatever. Then now he fight. Now you saying you gonna got to, and I'm still a champ in the takeover. No, bro, don't work like that. You got to prove it, man.
Right now, Teofimo, obviously the business side when it comes to Bob Arum, he already said that he would like the Ryan Garcia fight, and Ryan is with the zone. So we already know Bob Arum did business with the zone and Eddie by him actually making the Luke Campbell fight. Luke Campbell is under the zone. He fight under Eddie. So the fight is makeable. So there's no reason for Teofimo to be looking to fight Ryan, but not Devin when Devin is the champion. Ryan don't even have a title. So
no, he don't.
Yeah,
and he's actually mandatory for Devin. He beat Luke, and he's supposed to be. That's the mandatory for Devin.
Right. So now, like I said before, if Teofimo chooses to fight another opponent at 135 or move up to 140, you think he's avoiding Devin Haney? You will say he's avoiding Devin.
I would call in, man, and say, Aki, you stand on your word. You still undefeated, brother, and he he ducking him.
All right, say no more. All right, I'm gonna hold you to it. So who's this again?
It's Mello from Chicago, bro. Great debate, man.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Mello from Chicago. I'm gonna hold you to it. So now Oscar De La Hoya came out and said, soon the return of the most exciting fight, Ryan Garcia in December, obviously versus Luke Campbell. So he pretty much trying to take shots at Devin, saying this night wasn't exciting, but we all got to remember that, you can't force your opponent to fight back. Devin Haney was letting his hands fly, but Gamboa, his objective was to see to hear the final bell. So, you really can't criticize Devin of, calling this fight lackluster, because Devin was doing everything on his end. He even went in the inside to push for a toe-to-toe action. So, like I said, at the end of the day, skills pay the bills. Oh man, I think I missed. Earl said, "Isn't Tank and Haney is mandatories currently?" Man, no, I mean, as far as Haney, when you say as far as Haney being a mandatory, nah, Haney is the champion. He's not a mandatory for nobody. Tank, he obviously, I think he like a regular champion, but he need to request in order to fight the super champion, which is Teofimo. That's how it goes, So yeah, neither of them are really mandatories. Tank, you could probably say that, but Devin is the real champion, the real WBC champion. So with that being said, I want to talk about I got another caller. Hello, who this is, and where are you calling from?
My name is Joey. I'm from the chat. I'm also from South Florida.
Joey, okay, that's what's up. Which one is you?
I was the one that asked about the Haney Lopez thing.
Oh yeah. Oh, Joey. I got you. All right, what's going on? Talk to me.
So, I mean, my debate's similar to his, but it's a little different. It's about the whole undisputed Devin Haney situation. Now, as I stated before, this isn't Devin Haney's fault. This isn't Teofimo's fault. This is really the WBC's fault for having this whole franchise belt to begin with. Because as you said, and as Devin Haney said, it is a belt for ducking. Now, the thing that I don't understand, though, is how Lomachenko, the WBA, WBO, and at a time, at one point, the WBC lightweight champion. I don't understand how it's a clear duck if he ducked Devin Haney and his next fight, regardless of who he was planning to fight before him, his next fight was the winner of the IBF title between Richard Coleman and Teofimo Lopez. That's what I don't understand, because the way I see it is, if you choose not to fight a mandatory to fight a champion, how you look at it ducking if you want the title.
Yeah, well, the reason why, because he was going to fight Camposos. I'm sorry if I mispronounced his name, but he was a mandatory, I believe, for another of his belts, and they were working out in order to make that fight. But because Lomachenko was receiving a whole lot of backlash for avoiding Devin and giving up the belt, he ended up canceling on that fight as well. So the only reason why it's considered ducking is because when Lomachenko won the vacant belt, he was told that he was obligated to fight 2 mandatories, or at least one in 6 month time span right after he won the vacant belt, because obviously he's winning a vacant belt, but he's not a mandatory, he's a champion. So when you're a champion and you're fighting for a vacant belt, that's like you're receiving a free strap. So he fought Luke Campbell instead of Devin. That's already negative right there. Devin was the actual mandatory, but he chose Luke Campbell, and they paid the WBC to put Luke Campbell as the mandatory for Lomachenko in order for them to fight for a vacant belt, which was ridiculous. So that's already strike one. That, Devin was the one that was the mandatory. Luke Campbell he was coming off a loss, and Lomachenko, he chose Luke Campbell by design, by choice. And then after he fought him, Devin became his mandatory, and under the rules, he have to face Devin in 6 months time span. But like I said before, he requested money to buy this French fries belt in order to avoid Devin. So he just wanted to save face in order to avoid Devin. Now, like you said, this Teofimo is not to blame for what Lomachenko did. However, he also petitioned for this title through email. So Teofimo right now, he's in position. He put himself in a tight position because he called Devin an email champion, and now this is the fight to make for undisputed. So Lomachenko, as far as I know, I won't say he's over with, because he's still a good fighter. He will be a good fight against anybody, but he's out of the equation. Right now, we're looking at the Young Bucks. We're looking at Ryan. We're looking at Javante. We're looking at Devin, and we're looking at the man of the division, Teofimo. So for Teofimo,
no, I agree with you there.
Yeah. So now for Teofimo, he is the man. There ain't no doubt about it. He beat Lomachenko. No. He got himself into that position. He called out just like Devin, he was calling out Lomachenko, and he made it happen because he was actually with Top Rank. So he was the first one to get his hands on Lomachenko, and he beat Lomachenko. But now he said he want to be undisputed in 2 different divisions. So he had, and obviously 140, they don't even have, they still have unfinished business. Taylor still have to fight Rosario. That fight is not even official. So it's useless for him to move up over there right now. At 135, it's really unfinished business because we got Javante, we got Ryan, we got Devin. He could go ahead and be undisputed right now by fighting Devin Haney next. So obviously Teofimo, he made the right choice by going whatever route he went. That I would have made the same thing. I would have went that route too. But now it's the time to fight Devin for undisputed. Wouldn't you say so?
No, here's the thing. I agree that the fight with Devin Haney should be made, simply for the fact that I think Teofimo is number 1, but Devin Haney's number 2. But I really think this fight should be made. It's just to prove who really is, who's not email. Because like you said, Teofimo requested for the WBC franchise title, but Devin Haney, unfortunately, because of the WBC, and even like you said, Lomachenko wasn't given the opportunity to win that title. So that gives him that title to many people, including Teofimo, as also the email champion. So the way I look at it is, yeah, Devin Haney has the belt, but because he's in that sticky situation, because he never won the belt, he's not really getting the props that he deserves. Because like I said, I don't think Devin Haney's a bad fighter. I don't think, and it's not even It's not even like I don't think he could face Teofimo or Lomachenko or anything like that. I think he's got skills, but because he's not, but because he doesn't have the, you could say, resume, like he didn't beat Lomachenko, it just puts him in that situation where they both need to fight each other because both of their legacies are on the line. Because this is what I was saying before. This is how I feel as if Devin Haney is as much as a WBC champion as Teofimo as much as undisputed. They both got something to prove here. Wouldn't you agree?
Nah, I don't agree with that comment. As far as he's the you got to be undisputed. If you want to be undisputed, you got to win the WBC title. So he's not the WBC, excuse me, he's not undisputed. Devin is the real WBC champion. Regardless of how he got it, he fought himself into that position. He was in the same tournament as Teofimo and Lomachenko. They both elected to get out of the tournament. They went and fought each other. Okay, cool. Now it's time for them to fight each other. The winners, Devin and Teofimo. Now, obviously, Devin is the real WBC champion. Teofimo, he have 3 other straps. So in order for Teofimo to be undisputed, he has to see Devin Haney. But I do agree, they do need to fight next. That's the fight we want to see. If Teo feel like, Devin is not a real champion, he's untested, he's this, he that, then that should be a cakewalk for him. He should feel even more confident to show the world that he's the one, not the 2. Obviously, right now, he the 1, but it's a question mark because he's not. He haven't taken over 135. He only he took part over 135. There's still unfinished business. So we do have to see Teofimo versus Devin Haney next in order to decide who's really going to take over 135. And Earl,
I got another.
Yeah, I'm gonna answer it right away, but let me read the super chat. Devin resume versus Davis, Loma, Gary, Ryan, Teofimo. Yeah, so as far as Teofimo obviously have the best resume. Excuse me. I would say Lomachenko and Gervonta has the second best resume. Gary has the third best. Ryan have the fourth. Not including Devin, because if all of them names you just mentioned, none of them are jumping in the line to fight Devin next. That's why he the A boogeyman. So when you the A boogeyman, it ain't about who you fight, it's about who's willing to fight you. And we already know Devin Haney has so many mandatories, supposedly, from Ryan versus Luke Campbell, from Linares versus Campbell. All these fighters chose and elected to fight each other instead of facing him. So how is he going to build his resume if none of these fighters are willing to fight him? And another key element here is Devin is only 21 years old. He's the youngest out of the bunch. He's the youngest world champion in the world. But yeah, go ahead and you can ask me your question, my brother.
All right. So my question, this is more about the comment that Floyd Mayweather made. Do you think he kind of just made things complicated for when he said Teofimo was only the WBO and IBF lightweight champion and said that Tank was the real WBA champion, even though he didn't win the belt from an actual champion? Do you agree with his comment, or do you think he was wrong on that part?
Floyd Mayweather, he very calculated with what he says, and he said it because obviously Gervonta signed under him. So the fact that Floyd knows that Gervonta is the WBA super champion at 130, but the WBA regular champion at 135. He also know, or I think he knows. I mean, I'm not gonna assume, but the WBA, they recognize the super title as the real title. So what I mean by that is, for example, if you have the IBF, the WBO, the WBC title, and you missing the WBA title, in order for you to be undisputed, you have to face the WBA super champion. You can't face the WBA regular title and be a champion. So the WBA, under their organization, they recognize the super title as the real champion. The WBC recognized the title that Devin has, the regular title, as the real champion. So I think Floyd Mayweather was speaking for himself there. I think he was saying, like, I'm going to throw Gervonta and Tank Davis in there and say he's the real champion at 135. But no, I think Teofimo have 3 belts. Teofimo has the IBF, the WBA, and the WBO. but he is missing the WBC.
No, I agree with you. Yeah, because it didn't make any sense to me. Because I mean, like, because if you go back and look at Floyd's resume, you see he held the WBA super title. He didn't have the WBA regular when he was at welterweight.
Yeah, because
so
it's not
the how can he
I think he's just using that for promotion to promote Gervonta. Because I don't know if you noticed, they were promoting the Gervonta versus Leo as a fight for 2 different titles in 2 different divisions. Kind of like when Sugar Ray Leonard won the 168 title and the 175 title, fighting a champion that was the champion in both weight divisions. So it's like an easy ticket to win 2 different titles in 2 different divisions. But obviously, what they didn't tell you that Gervonta didn't have the WBA super title at 135. So that's just the regular title. That's not the real title. Teofimo has that. But I think Floyd know that. He's just being calculated. He knows what he's doing. So he doing the same thing Top Rank doing. So he like, you know what? They over here confusing the fans, so I'm gonna run with it and say Gervonta the champion.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. So I mean, like, what you're basically trying to say is it's just like Top Rank ain't the only people trying to that can confuse the fans. What you're saying, like even someone that's like Floyd Mayweather, who's done this before, who knows the rules, can also take advantage of what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, Floyd, like I said, he took advantage, because he was promoting Gervonta versus Leo, so he definitely took advantage. But Top Rank, they made this title. Oh, I ain't gonna say they made this title. They just took advantage of what Canelo did. So, I mean, it's all business, it's all politics, it's all, ruining the sport of boxing, really, because you have the UFC.
No, I agree.
They got 1 belt. You know what I'm saying? Like the regular title. That's it. You know what I'm saying? There should be no 4 belts. And like Roy said, it's okay to have 4 belts. Roy Jones said it's okay to have 4 belts as long once you become a champion, you're going to unify with the other champions. So when Roy was fighting, he said if anybody was around his division that had a belt, he wanted him next. And that's how it should be. As a real champion, you should want to win all the belts. So it's okay if they want to have 4 belts, but when you win a belt, you should be obligated to unify with other champions. That's how they should set it up if they want to keep these 4 titles. But like I said, to add more titles, this is getting ridiculous, man. Like it's a turnoff for a lot of fans because I'm telling you, a lot of people are so confused, especially at the 135-pound division, seeing Gervonta name in there, seeing Devin, seeing Tio, and they like, what? Who's who? Who's the champion? Who's what? And that's just killing the sport.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Because even me, for example, now, granted, I look at Teofimo as the champion who could potentially hold 4 belts simply because of the fact that he beat the man. But I can understand why Devin Haney is looked at as the champion because he has the belt. So it's confusing because of that WBC franchise title. It's like you said before. I mean, because let's say if Lomachenko did fight Devin Haney and he did beat him, and then he did fight Teofimo, this all would have been resolved. Or vice versa, if Devin Haney beat Lomachenko, this all would have been resolved. But that WBC franchise title, or what you call the French fight title, it puts a hole in this whole situation, and it just slows down these fights, and it's just bad for the sport. Like you said, it's about production.
Yeah, it puts a black eye on the sport of boxing, because Devin said, he pretty much, he let the world know, you guys can't blame me. I fought my way to earn my position. I fought 24 times. I fought to fight the mandatory position. You think I wanted to receive the belt without fighting Lomachenko? He said that was the main guy he wanted to fight. He wanted Lomachenko as bad as Tio wanted Lomachenko. But, like he said, that ruins the sport. It puts a black eye on the sport when you put yourself in a position to fight the champion, and the champion finds a way out to avoid you. And it's like, what is going on? And that's hurting the sport because in the NBA, obviously, it's a tournament. It's always a tournament. In every sport, it's almost a tournament. Even in the UFC, it's a tournament, even though it's a compact sport. So in boxing, it's so much ways to maneuver and move around, and it's just hurting the sport. Like I said, it's putting a black eye on the sport of boxing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just feel as if Lomachenko's movement at the end just didn't make any sense. like you said before, if he just would have fought Devin Haney to begin with and then would have fought Teofimo, maybe that fight would have been delayed, but at least we would have found out who the real undisputed champion is, and there wouldn't be this whole ducking situation.
Yeah,
and
I mean, yeah.
What makes it
right.
Yeah, and what makes it even more like confusing is the fact that you got in this situation, because you hear different stories, even from Devin Haney saying, like, "Oh, he's not sure if Lomachenko's ducking him." Then one moment he is, then Lomachenko's saying he'll fight him after. Like, these stories aren't adding up, and at the end of the day, it gives you that question: like, is he ducking or is he not ducking? You get me?
Right. Yeah, but one thing that could eliminate questions is the WBC said he requested the title. So it ain't like the WBC gave him the title. No, it was Lomachenko who was like, "Yo, can I get this title in order to save face?" So he knew off the bat that he had to face Devin Haney in 6 months time span. That's under the WBC rule. But like I said, they break the rules in order to help fighters avoid. And that's what's hurting the sport is putting a black eye on the sport. The fact that there's ways to avoid through politics. All you got to do is play politics and just confuse the fans. Like, if I was in a guy that's reporting the sport, I wouldn't be able to keep up with all of this. You know what I mean? So I could just imagine, as a fan from the outside looking in, it's like, what is going on in the sport of boxing is the $1 million question. But yeah, I appreciate talking with you, my brother.
Likewise.
Yes, sir. How you doing, my brother? Who says where you calling from?
It's Trey. I'm calling from New York, Brooklyn.
What's going on?
All right. I'm just trying to say, this dude Tank, all them boys is overhyped. Tank is overhyped. Freaking dude that just fought tonight, Devin Haney, he overhyped. Their time is coming. I just feel like they both been cherry picking for a long time.
Who's not? Hold on. But let me ask you this question: who's not overhyped?
Lomachenko not overhyped, and Chris Colbert. Do you know who Chris Colbert is?
You said Lomachenko, or you mean Tio?
Lomachenko is not overhyped. Tio's not overhyped either. Both of them dudes are legit.
All right.
Tank not trying to see neither of them. Devin Haney not trying to see neither of them. I think we all know that by now.
I mean, how are you going to say that when he just called him out? Like, what sense does that make?
Who called him out?
Devin Haney said that he wants Teofimo next. He been calling him out.
We all knew Teofimo gonna wash him. That don't mean Devin Haney overhyped. Okay, we all know Devin Haney gonna get washed.
No. I'm holding you to what you just said. You said Devin Haney don't want to fight him. Didn't you say that?
Him saying that he wants to fight him in front of us, and him personally wanting to fight Teofimo, we know he don't want those problems.
How are you going to say that when it was him trying to fight him from the jump, even at the WBC tournament? Teofimo left the tournament.
Bro, these dudes be putting on a front. I can say that all day to make y'all believe that's what I want to do. But signing the dotted line is another issue. You see what I'm saying? I can sit there and yell that shit all day on camera.
That's all smoke and mirrors. I think you brainwashed my brother, because Devin called out Teofimo.
Who you think gonna win? Who you think gonna win?
It don't matter who I think who's gonna win. What matters is that Devin won a fight. I could care less about an opinion as far as who's gonna win. I care more as far as you stating that this guy ducking, that guy ducking. Because Tank said, did you hear Tank call out Teofimo on Max Kellerman? He said Tio ain't special. I'm special. He said I'll fight him next. So how is that ducking? He want the fight. That's not ducking. The ducking is when Lomachenko.
I ain't saying he's ducking. I said they overhyped. I'm stressing the fact that they overhyped. I ain't stressing the fact that they ducking.
But you said they ducking as soon as you came in.
I'm saying they overhyped.
All right, so you're gonna take your statement back.
We both know.
You're gonna take a statement
what you want to
see. So you agree that they not ducking.
The initial statement was that they overhyped.
But you also said that Devin and Tank are avoiding Teofimo, which is completely false, according to facts, because they called.
You're saying they're not ducking because they said it in public.
They will. Devin,
They
man,
still
did
ain't,
you see
they ain't
Bill?
signing nothing. They ducking until they sign the shit.
I talk to Bill every
You can't
day.
say that they not ducking either because they still ain't signed.
I talk to Bill.
They ain't signing nothing.
Listen. I talk to Bill all the time, and they want the Teofimo fight as bad as they want to breathe. What you talking about, bro? Man, what you been smoking on, brother? Man, what you been drinking, man? I might need some of that. That's the fight they want. Devin said he want that fight as bad as he want to breathe. And you talking about he don't want the fight. What are you talking about? He called him out like 100 times, but you can't force another side to fight. So we'll see if Teofimo fight those guys you mentioned. But we could talk about, if you feel like they overhyped, we could talk about that.
What you think about Chris Colbert?
Well, I really haven't seen too much of him, but he a good talent. But I think he definitely got a bright future in the sport of boxing. But as far as
that's who I think.
But let me say
he reminds me of Mayweather a lot.
Yeah, but let me say this to you, my brother. When you say somebody is overhyped, you got to remember, at the end of the day, when you say Devin Haney is overrated, hold on. Somebody says something. Haney is overrated, point blank. You're biased toward him. Well, when you say somebody's overrated, like this decaf, in the comment section, he said Devin overhyped, right? But if you overhyped, wouldn't you think all of these fighters will be gunning to fight him? I mean, like for Devin Haney, he got mandatories avoiding him. He got Linares fighting Fortuna instead of fighting him next. Neither one of those guys wanted to fight him next.
I can't see him beating Linares.
Listen, hold on. We got Linares, Fortuna avoiding him. We got Ryan and Luke Campbell didn't want to fight Devin. They want to fight each other, right? So he the champion. He holds the belt, but they fighting for his position. We got Teofimo saying he's undisputed. He already saying like I don't even got to fight Devin. I'm already undisputed, which is completely false. So if he don't know how to fight or he's not as good as advertised, wouldn't you think they'd be gunning for him because he got a free strap? He got an easy strap they could take off of him. But skill recognized skill. They treat him like the boogeyman. They making him, they hyping him up. The fighters are hyping him up because they don't want to fight him. They have him last on the wish list. So how you gonna say, well, he overhyped? When the fighters are overhyping him because the fighters don't want to fight him next. If they agree with you, they would have been fought him. But apparently their opinion matter more than the fans because they not choosing to fight Devin next. So talk is cheap,
Who did he beat? Do you think he would beat Linares? Do you see Linares fight Lomachenko?
Did you hear what Devin said? He said he will knock out Linares. So
I asked you a question though. Did you see Linares fight Lomachenko?
It was a good fight. It was a good
fight. Do you think Devin Haney could beat Linares?
I think he could possibly stop him. Yeah. Easy. Easy. Okay. I think it's easy work for Devin Haney.
I think Linares will wash Devin Haney.
I think it's easy
work. Linares.
I'm talking about he gonna knock him out. What? So why didn't Linares fight Devin?
Say that again.
Why didn't Linares fight Devin? Apparently Linares don't agree with you because Linares said Devin Haney is the second best after Lomachenko with Lomachenko before he even lost to Tio. So even Linares don't agree with you. He said Devin is the second best.
Yeah, Linares,
and he avoided him. And he avoided Devin Haney.
Linares was hating on Tio. Linares didn't think Tio was going. I don't know why he said that. I honestly underestimated Teofimo as well.
All right, cool. I mean, you sound like you underestimate everybody. But I'm saying, why don't Linares fight Devin? Why don't Linares fight Devin?
I bet he's gonna fight him now. I don't know why he didn't fight him before. But I know we all know Linares is true. Linares fought Lomachenko though. That's what matters.
Hey, guess who? But hold on. But guess who opinion matters? Linares' opinion matters. Your opinion don't matter, my brother. So if he feel like Devin, if he feel like Lomachenko, if he feel like Devin is special, that's what matters. Because he not trying to fight Devin next. And you keep talking about Lomachenko. Devin will spank Lomachenko. That's why Lomachenko avoided him.
Do you think Devin Haney is? Matter of fact, I guess because Devin Haney got that low belt, Yeah, but he ain't fight nobody, son.
So name me one fighter. Name me one fighter willing to fight him next. One fighter willing to fight him next.
Linares will fight him in Washington.
He don't want to fight him. Well, he don't want to fight him. That's why he's fighting Fortuna. Why he fighting Fortuna when he could have fought Devin Haney? Hello? Anybody home?
I mean,
Devin
Haney just had a fight. Like, what are you saying?
I'm saying Linares was supposed to fight Devin, but he elected to fight Fortuna instead of fighting Devin. And Fortuna is not.
It sounds like he cherry picking to me. Why didn't Devin Haney try to fight Linares?
So he tried. Linares didn't want to fight him. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
How did he try?
Because he didn't want to fight Devin Haney right away. He wanted to fight Fortuna to become Devin Haney mandatory instead of fighting Devin Haney right away.
Okay, so he said he's gonna fight Devin Haney after he fight Fortuna. So why fight Fortuna first when you could get Devin Haney right away? When he's coming off a loss.
Who's coming off a loss?
He's just trying to make sure he's right. That don't mean he's ducking him.
Who's coming off a loss? Who's coming off a loss?
Linares.
No, he's not. See, that's why you got to know your information, my brother, because he's not coming off a loss. He's coming off a win, a knockout victory, in fact. So there ain't no excuses.
Last time I watched his fight was when he lost to freaking Lomachenko. I ain't see that man again.
Man, he already had a knockout after that in a spectacular fashion.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. You gotta know when you call out somebody for ducking, I gotta hold you accountable because you call if Devin is not that special, as like you say, everybody will be gunning for him. But all these fighters, Linares, Fortuna, Ryan,
you still ain't naming nobody Haney fought yet.
Okay, I will name you.
You know them boys getting protected for the bread. You know them boys getting protected for the bread.
Okay, I will answer that question if you answer mine. Name me one fighter willing to fight Devin Haney next. One fighter.
Lomachenko.
No, he's not. He already avoided Devin Haney.
Oh my God.
He already avoided Devin Haney. He gave up his belt to Devin Haney. The whole reason
Devin Haney would beat Lomachenko?
Hold on. The whole reason Devin Haney's a champion right now because Lomachenko avoided him. You know what I'm saying?
Do you think Devin Haney will beat Lomachenko?
Do I think? He will spank Lomachenko. Man, did you see Lomachenko?
Are you badass?
He didn't even throw one punch.
Y'all hear this, man?
Man, he didn't even throw one punch. Did you see him
throw
one punch?
You will put your bread on Devin Haney.
Man, I'll put my house on it. What you talking about?
Nah, man, you fronting, huh?
Man, I'm telling you right now. You think if Teofimo was able to keep him at bay, if Teofimo was able to keep him at bay and outbox him, you know what Devin gonna do? Devin could fight in the inside. He will beat him up in the inside and the outside.
Now you know Lomachenko didn't fight the way he usually fight when he fought.
Why?
When he fought Teo.
Why?
He started mad late. We know the way he fought that second half of that fight. That's how he be fighting the whole fight. He started mad late.
Man, did you see the 12 round?
That's not the Lomachenko we know.
Did you see the 12 round?
But if he fight,
did you see the 12 round?
But if he's even fighting that way against Devin Haney, he will watch Devin Haney.
Hold on. Did you see the 12 round between Teofimo and Lomachenko?
Yeah, I did.
What happened?
I saw that 12th round, and I felt like that 12th round was a draw. They was banging.
Hey, my brother.
They was banging.
Hey, your vision ain't 20/20. You need some glasses.
They was banging.
Brother. You need some glasses because he nearly stopped them. Banging.
That 12th round could have went either way.
He was beating up on him. Teofimo was beating up on him. And if Lomachenko would have opened up early on, he probably would have got knocked out. That's why he stayed reluctant to the 7th round to let his hands fly.
He would.
Man, I'm gonna tell you something right now.
That
look,
Teofimo's legs was going. Son, what was you watching?
Man, Lomachenko was fighting scared, man. He was fighting scared, and Lomachenko, I truly believe Devin will dominate him more than Teofimo did. But with that being said, man, great talking with you, man. Hey, man, give me some of that shit you be smoking, man.
All right, man. But yo, I want y'all boys to go check out Chris Colbert, man. That boy is the next Mayweather for real.
I got you, babe. But
he's coming out of Brooklyn, New York.
I got you. Hey, okay, out of Brooklyn, New York. I'm gonna definitely check him out more because I didn't even know he's from Brooklyn, New York, because that's where I'm from. But with your IQ, my brother, I'm sorry, man. With your IQ, I don't know, man. I don't know if he's the next thing. based on your eyes.
Check him out,
I'm gonna check him out for
you
myself.
Gonna like him.
I'm gonna check him out for myself.
He's gonna remind you of Pretty Boy, not even Money Made.
But you got me worried. You got me worried. You got me worried. You said this guy's he ain't nobody.
The future in New York.
You said Devin ain't nobody, Tank ain't nobody. When they like the next two supposedly pound for pound king.
They nobody, bro.
All right, we'll see.
I never said they nobody.
Man, my man talking crazy over here. But I'm gonna pick up a call real quick, but I do want to get this topic out of the way. Excuse me. Alhamdulillah. So, obviously, I know you guys heard the news. Canelo Alvarez. I know you guys heard the news. Canelo Alvarez is not a free agent. He settled out of court with DAZN. It's been a lot of talks. Now, when it comes to Canelo Alvarez, that's good news and bad news that he left DAZN. The bad news is it's going to be extremely hard to find another deal close to what DAZN offered him, in which it was $33 million guaranteed per fight. Psh, man, you are not going to find that anywhere, my brother. But as far as him leaving DAZN, and if he obviously PBC seemed like the entity that's about to sign him. I told you guys a month ago, I dropped a video on that PBC is looking at Canelo Alvarez, especially when he had his issues with DAZN. Because of the pandemic, DAZN didn't want to pay him the amount they agreed to, due to the fact that they told Canelo, you are not living up to your expectations as far as your numbers. Oscar kept telling us, Oscar was telling DAZN that, you know, Canelo is the biggest star in in boxing. He does the biggest numbers on TV. Not just boxing, he said on TV. So DAZN were looking at him like, man, hold on, this guy, he could really put us on the map. But what DAZN didn't realize, if he really was going to put DAZN on the map, he would have saved HBO from drowning. Do you think HBO would have went out of business if they had Floyd Mayweather or Manny Pacquiao in their prime still fighting when they were superstars? Absolutely not. But Canelo obviously is not as big as those guys. So DAZN made a huge miscalculation, overpaid Canelo. Excuse me. And they were losing 20 to 30 million per fight. So they had to tell Canelo, listen, you're not living up to your side of the deal. You're not giving us the numbers we were looking for, the subscribers we were looking for, and also you're not fighting premier fights. You keep pretty much cherry picking, wanting to fight Avini next, the guy coming off a loss. So Canelo was like, you know what? Let me out of my contract. And obviously that's when the lawsuit took place. And you guys got to remember, I think DAZN made a miscalculations, and they made a huge mistake when they gave Canelo whatever deal they agreed to, because I thought, or I assumed, because if I was in their position, I would have did the same thing, is they told Canelo, listen, if you're not going to give us this amount of subscription, then we're going to have to pay you less down the line. However, apparently that wasn't the case. They also had agreed to a premier fight every year, but when the lawsuit took place, they were talking about premier fights were like Oscar De La Hoya, Gennady Golovkin, this and that, when they should have been focusing on like Andre, Charlo, fights that really matter. But when you talk about Khabib versus Canelo, Masvidal, it's like, it's in other words, you telling Canelo go fight a kangaroo, as long that sells, you know, as long as that does numbers, that's all we care about. So premier fight, I think their definition of that was off. I think should have been like fights that's 50-50 that the public want to see, like Charlo and Andre. Those would have did tremendous numbers, and they would have paid off on the DAZN end. But I think they made a miscalculation on that, and they pretty much got fooled by Oscar De La Hoya when he sold them Canelo. He you know what I mean, he pretty much played a game. Oscar De La Hoya, he got DAZN with that Canelo deal. But then obviously Canelo, he didn't like the fact that he can't pick his own opponents. He didn't like the fact that the zone is telling him who to fight, and also the money issue was the biggest issue. So they were trying to agree to a $20 million per fight, but Canelo wasn't happy with it. Now he left his contract. So the bad news is Canelo Alvarez is not going to be able to find another big contract like that. But the good news is he has other options now. He could do what Mikey Garcia been doing, is be a free agent and fight on whoever network that presents the most valuable fights or the most lucrative money for you at any particular moment. Now, according to reports, Oscar De La Hoya came out and said that, they reached an agreement with Canelo in which they let him free. However, they will do business in the future. They agreed they're going to do some type of business in the future. I don't know what that means. I don't know what kind of agreement they settled out of court, but that's apparently the case. Now, Canelo, most likely, he will be a free agent fighting whoever he wants, but PBC is also an option. PBC is the biggest entity in the sport of boxing. Al Heyman is the man who's really running boxing, and he has great options for Canelo Alvarez. If you think about it, he has tremendous options. I mean, think about it. If Canelo Alvarez signs with PBC, he has the Caleb Plant, Benavidez, Charlo fight. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. So there's a plan for Canelo on PBC. For example, on ESPN, I really don't know anybody at 160 or 168 that he really could fight. Now, maybe he could face a guy like, I'm about to butcher his name. Berlanga, I think that's his name. I think he could fight a guy like Berlanga down the line, but that's a dangerous fight. And right now, that fight ain't going to happen anytime soon because Berlanga is on the come up. Lonazo Thompson, appreciate the love, my brother. I really appreciate it. I'm supposed to be asleep right now, but I'm over here chatting with my AKHis. So with that being said, as far as Canelo Alvarez, the PBC roster looking really pretty right now when it comes to Canelo. I mean, you got Caleb Plant, Benavidez, Charlo. These are big super fights for Canelo in which he could possibly end up making 30 to 33 million if the pay-per-views are successful. Now, PBC's Al Heyman did offer, I believe, reports came out that they offered Canelo Alvarez a Caleb Plant fight in which Canelo Alvarez is actually entertaining. And man, when it comes to Canelo Alvarez, you obviously got to put the bar a little bit below average. You can't put it as high as you're going to put it for other fighters. So to hear a Caleb Plant and Canelo entertaining a Caleb Plant is like, man, we love that fight. Canelo, he requested the WBC to fight Ivini next, the fighter coming off a loss for Benavidez vacant strap. So to go from Ivini to Caleb Plant, that's a blockbuster fight. I mean, we always push for Charlo and Andre versus Canelo because obviously Canelo been avoiding those guys for the past 5 years. But if he does fight a Caleb Plant, that's still a big fight. Obviously, it ain't Charlo, but it's still nearly as dangerous as a Charlo fight at 168 because of the fact that Caleb Plant is a proven champion. Caleb Plant supposedly stylistically possess a lot of attributes that will give Canelo Alvarez plenty of troubles. So the fact that Canelo is entertaining a Caleb Plant fight, that's a good look on Canelo behalf. Because that will be, I truly believe, his best name on his resume yet if he actually could get a win on Caleb Plant. That's the fight that's reported that's in negotiations right now. Hopefully, one thing about Canelo, if he goes to BBC, is that Al Heyman is going to bless him left and right. You could ask Leo Santa Cruz. He named his son Al. You could ask Abner Mares. He said, man, when it comes to Golden Boy, it felt like I was in prison compared to how Al Heyman treat me now. So Canelo is definitely going to feel the love when it comes to him getting his money invested the right way and making all type of money. However, there's a good side and a bad side. The good side is Canelo, they're going to take care of him. But on the bad side, but on the bad side, I'll tell you right now, Al Heyman is nothing to play with when it comes to matchmaking. He always make the best versus the best. Canelo is not going to be fighting the Rocky Fieldings, the Ivinis, the pretty much washed up Kovalev on the PBC roster. That's not going to happen. Al Heyman is going to pay you well, but you're definitely going to have to fight the best and earn it that way. So you guys saw Manny Pacquiao under, when he was with Top Rank. He was fighting Timothy Bradley, I believe Jeff Horn at one point. As soon as he signed with Al Heyman threw Adrian Broner in there with him right away. Then Keith Thurman in there with Manny Pacquiao right away. He paid Manny Pacquiao well, but he told Manny Pacquiao, I could pay you the money you want. However, you're going to have to fight the fights the fans want to see you against. And that's the same thing that's on the deal. That's the same deal that's on the table for Canelo Alvarez. Al Heyman, he presented him all the money, but he's going to have to face the Caleb Plants, the Benavidez, and the Charlos of the world. So Brooklyn Tree said, Canelo Alvarez versus David Benavidez, who you all got? Question mark. Now, that's a great fight. That's a 50-50 fight. That's a Mexican war right there. David Benavidez, the way he looked his last fight, he looked tremendous. He looked spectacular. And, man, that fight right there is the fight to make. So I would love to see, for example, Caleb Plant versus a guy like, Canelo Alvarez, and then Charlo versus a guy like Benavidez, and the winners could fight each other, and the losers could fight each other. It could be set up in a tournament like that. So that's great news for PBC. If they could capture a guy like Canelo with his star power, man, that's only building their roster even stronger, because we already know the PBC have 80% of the talent pool in the sport of boxing. To add Canelo Alvarez to the roster, that will hurt the Zone, because the Zone have Gennady Golovkin. Supposedly Gennady Golovkin didn't sign with the Zone only for the Canelo fight, and the Zone actually agreed they were actually going to give the Zone told Gennady Golovkin, and they agreed that they're going to give him the Canelo Alvarez fight down the line. That's why Gennady Golovkin agreed to sign with the Zone. So maybe that's the agreement they were talking about in which Golden Boy said, you have to work with us in the future. You're free to go, but you got to work with us in the future. Maybe they were talking about the Gennady Golovkin fight. That could be a possibility. But like I said, that's going to really hurt the Zone, because you left Andrade without a dancing partner and Gennady Golovkin. And we already know Gennady Golovkin is not going to fight Andrade. So Andrade, he's really left alone. He feel like Akon at the moment. Lonely, I got nobody. That's how he's singing right now, because Canelo left the Zone. Gennady Golovkin is not going to face him. Remember, the Zone had the best middleweight, roster in any entity. The Zone had Canelo, Jacob, Andre, Gennady Golovkin, and Charlo. He was looking like he was being left out of the picture. But now, luckily for Charlo, he fought Deryachenko, and now he could fight a David Benavidez, a Caleb Plant, and then a Canelo. Same for Canelo Alvarez. There's so many different options. So, like I said, I truly believe Canelo will sign with PBC. If not, he will definitely work with PBC on more than one occasion, kind of like what Mikey Garcia is doing. So this is going to be my last call, and then I'll call it a night. How you doing, Aki? Who this is? Where are you calling from?
This is Mac from Brooklyn, man. What's good?
Mac, what's going on, Mac?
Oh shit. Yo, you should have hung up on the last caller. The minute he said that Teofimo fight with Loma was when he said it was a draw at the end or something like that.
Man, he said the last round was a draw when Teofimo was beating his ass. I mean,
boy, that was, you got more patience than me, because that was who were you watching that fight with, right, Charles? Because everybody and their mom could see that Teofimo came through with the second win.
Right.
I don't know where that came from.
Yeah, I don't know
but
what he was talking about.
I love the Haneys, right? And we all in the LDBC love the Haneys because they show us so much love. They're humble. They don't think they're prima donnas where they're above the YouTube boxing community, and they talk to us and so on and so forth. That being said, I'm from Brooklyn, so I gotta call a spade. And Devin Haney did not look impressive tonight, brother. He doesn't have that much pop in his punches. This guy is 38 years old. He's coming from an Achilles surgery injury. This is his first fight since the surgery, and he's washed and he's chinny. And Devin Haney couldn't even give him the Zab Zuda stinky leg, at least, nothing. He didn't drop him. He was talking crazy leading up to this fight, talking about, I'm going to knock him down 4 times. I'm going to beat him worse than Terrence Crawford, the future Hall of Famer, beat him. I'm going to beat him worse than Tank beat him. The jury's still out if Tank's going to be a future Hall of Famer, but beating him better than Terrence Crawford, hell no. And Terrence Crawford faced, the prime Gamboa, the baby Mike Tyson mixed with Pretty Boy Floyd, and now that new version is, I would say, Tank. I thought Haney was gonna be like the newer version of the Pretty Boy Floyd, but the jury is out. We've seen enough.
So let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So you don't think Gamboa was fighting to hear the final bell from the first round?
I think he was fighting in survival mode probably after the 3rd round, because he's washed. He's 38 years old.
But all right, that's what I'm trying to get to. That's what I'm trying to get to. So we obviously know
you're supposed to smoke a guy that's coming there for survival. Pretty Boy Floyd did it with the old heads that he had to face.
Yeah, but let me ask you this question.
Natural.
But let me ask you this question. Let me ask you this question though. Let me ask you this. So we obviously know Gervonta's he got dynamites in his hands, and if he's not the hardest, he's the hardest hitter below the heavyweight division, right? And it took him 12 rounds when obviously Gamboa had an injury in that fight. So,
yeah, but he hurt him. He dropped him.
Yeah, but it took him 12 rounds.
I was asking for at least one stinky leg or something. Make him look like he was about to fall, and he grabbed you up, and
he did. He did that in the 12th round. Didn't he do that in the 12th round?
I love the Hades.
Didn't he do that?
He caught him with a nice punch in the 12th round. He tried to do
and even before that, he hurt him. He got his attention with a couple shots. It's just that Devin didn't notice. But let me ask you this question: Didn't Gamboa, that same Gamboa we talking about that you say he washed, didn't he give Gervonta Tank Davis two black eyes his last fight?
I'm not sure if it was 2 black eyes, but
it was 2 black eyes after the fight.
Away from I'm not comparing Devin Haney and Tank. That's not what I'm doing. I'm just saying Devin Haney was not that impressive tonight. He doesn't have pop in his punches. I love this guy. We love him in Brooklyn.
But I got you. I got you.
Real out here.
I understand. Hey, I'm from Brooklyn too, so you already know what time it is. But I gotta call it spade.
And I would be in a tough position if I was you, because Devin Haney's father shows you crazy love. They both come in and show you love.
Yeah,
so
I got you. But listen. No. But it's nothing that has nothing to do with that. I'm always speak my mind because me as I take my job serious. So I try to separate my emotion and my feelings. But you telling me it's not impressive for Devin Haney to come out of the fight? But let me say this though. Let me ask you a question. You telling me it's not impressive for Devin Haney to get out of the fight the way he came into the fight without, receiving no type of punishment But hold on, let me finish, my brother. So you telling me him dominating Gamboa? One thing for sure, nobody clearly dominated Gamboa, won every single round. Watch Gamboa, you know, not Tank, not Terrence Crawford. That's the same Gamboa that fought, you know, Gervonta, and we already know he injured himself. I mean, he hurt himself in the second round. So that same Gamboa you talking about,
and that same Gamboa got knocked out.
Yeah, but
he got knocked out and he got dropped 4 times.
But didn't he?
He wasn't hobbling on one.
But let me say this.
Hobbling on one leg.
Hold on. But I'm saying what I'm trying to tell you is it's not impressive to dominate Gamboa more than anybody else did. Yes, he didn't get the KO, but he didn't leave with no black eye or none of that. You don't think that's impressive at all because you saying he don't have power? Is that what you're saying? Is because of the fact that he ain't got power, he's not impressive?
Power, and all I'm saying is, when he starts fighting elite fighters that's non-DAZN, elite fighters that's in the PBC, them little pillow punches he throws, he won't be able to get these guys off of him.
All right, let me ask you this question. All right. Let me ask you this question then. So you telling me Sweet Pea Whitaker, one of the greatest fighters of all time, possibly top 10, top 5, did he have power?
Rest in peace. Who was Sweet Pea?
Yeah, did he have power?
He smoked some guys. He had some.
Did he have power? No, but did he have power?
He had power. He had pop in his punches.
What?
People in the chat. Hold on. I
got you. Give me a second.
When he was just chopping him in the corner.
Hey, give me a second, my
brother.
Let me ask
him like a tree in the corner.
Yeah, hold on. Let me ask the fans. Everybody in the chat, does Sweet Pea Whitaker have power? Let's all be honest. We're not talking about his skill. We know he's one of the greatest 5, possibly greatest 10 fighters of all time. I'm talking about his pop. Does he have power? The way, for example, Gervonta Tank Davis does, so on and so forth. Answer the question. But as far as
set the bar high.
Yeah, but hold on. I got you. No, but you said because at the end of the day, we can't criticize his performance as far as how skilled he was. He didn't even get touched. He got out of the fight the way he came in. And he died.
Going back to what I just told you.
But let me talk, my brother. Let me say something.
When it comes down to
but what I'm trying to tell you is this. He got out of the fight the way he came in which he dominated Gamboa more than anybody did, as far as he did not receive no punishment. Gamboa was able to land on Gervonta. Gamboa was able to land on Terrence Crawford. He was able to win rounds on both of them fights. He was not able to win rounds against Devin Haney. But you said that Devin is not special because he don't have no power. People are just going to walk right through him. Well, I didn't see that happen to Sweet Pea Whitaker. I didn't see nobody just walk through Sweet Pea Whitaker. He had no power. Nobody, he didn't have no power. So, and everybody in the chat agree with that, So, it's not about power. It's about skills, my brother.
I don't want to get lost in the sauce of comparing him to Tank and to Pernell. You keep bringing these other guys up. I'm keeping it real. I'm just saying, from what I've seen tonight.
Well, that's not keeping it real.
He beat up a 38-year-old guy coming off an Achilles.
So do you want to see him against Teofimo next? It's okay. Hey, so if you're not impressed, do you think Teofimo going to wash him?
Yeah.
All right, so you hold on, but let me say this. Okay, but
that's a super fight.
But
Tank Davis and Lopez.
So is Teofimo going to fight
Ryan
him next?
Garcia?
Is Teofimo going to fight him next?
Garcia.
Is Teofimo going to fight him next?
Those are generic brands.
Is Teofimo? Hey, answer the question. Is Teofimo going to fight him next?
So Teofimo going to fight
Devin Haney next.
The Gmail champion.
Well, the only guy that we know that requested a French fries belt was obviously the only guy that petitioned for the French fries belt through email is Teofimo. So I don't know no other email champion. Other than Teo, if I'm being honest. So that's no disrespect to Teo.
Getting these franchise belts are non-black, but I'm a just, you know what I mean? Non-black. I want to see one black person get awarded a franchise belt. It looks kind of racist, but I digress.
All right.
That's another story for another day.
I mean, all right. Well, like I said before, but I mean, at the end of the day, my brother, you can't say he ain't nothing because he don't got no power. Because plenty fighters in the past that didn't have power.
You're going too hard with it.
I'm not. You said it. I didn't say. You said it. I'm only quoting you.
I say he wasn't impressive
because he don't got power.
We got love for him in Brooklyn. He just wasn't impressive.
Because he don't.
Was talking a big old talk. that's his words, not mine. He said, "I'm gonna drop him 4 times. I'm gonna just walk right through him." And none of that happened.
Gamboa didn't come to fight. Gamboa didn't come to fight. He knew Devin Haney was making them statements, so his whole objective was to go 12 rounds. He was not trying to win this fight. So just like Gamboa was able to survive, almost 12 rounds with Gervonta, he did the same thing. A lot of people he did the same thing to Devin. It's just that with Devin, he was able to go the full distance because he had 2 healthy legs from the jump, and he knew he didn't take no risk after he got clapped. But answer this question: if Gamboa came to fight, wouldn't have Devin Haney knocked him out?
Definitely not.
All right. Well, that's your opinion.
Larry Holmes came to survive, and Mike Tyson still knocked his ass the fuck out.
Yeah, but Mike Tyson is a knockout puncher, though. Mike Tyson is a knockout puncher, though. He's like he's a bull that goes for the knockout. You style make fights, and Gamboa came to survive, and he was clinching the whole night. And I got love for Gamboa. Matter of fact, I don't know if you guys can see this. Gamboa signed this glove. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I'm glad he didn't knock Gamboa out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't want him to knock out Gamboa because I got love for Gamboa, but you can't tell me that wasn't impressive. But anyways, my brother,
definitely
great talking with you, though.
Brooklyn.
Great talking with you. I got you, my
brother. Talking to you too, and I understand why you have to play the devil.
I'm being honest. I'm just saying. I'm being honest.
You're going hard, but I'm keeping it real.
I'm being honest.
He was not impressive. And every fight from now on,
I gotta let you go, my brother. Hey, but I'm being honest. I might. Like I said before, I'm just being honest with you guys. But my camera about to die on me, but I might pick up one more call. But I do want to mention that Devin Haney did say that he would love to fight. Obviously, Gary Russell next if Teofimo fight is not on the table, or any fight, or if all these mandatories of his not willing to fight him, he's willing to fight Gary Russell. In which he said Gary Russell wanted $3 to $4 million when they first were negotiating a fight before the public knew about it. But then when Gary Russell called out Terrence Crawford, he was like, you know what? I will entertain that fight for that amount for that amount of money that he willing to fight Crawford for. But obviously Gary Russell, according to Devin, once Gary Russell found out that Devin wasn't bluffing, he backed out. So this fight could still get made because this is still a big fight. Gary Russell, he said on more than one occasion he would love to move up to 130 and 135 to fight Gervonta and whoever, including Devin. But obviously, when Devin negotiations got too real, he found a way out for good reasons because he knows Devin is good as advertised. Therefore, a fight that will be great to be made. If Devin can't get Teofimo in the ring, if Devin can't get none of his mandatories in the ring, like Linares, Fortuna, Ryan, Campbell. If nobody's willing to fight him next, Gary Russell will be a huge, big name on his resume. That will be a big fight. The world want to see it. We've been promoting that fight from the jump. So hopefully, Team Haney and Team Gary Russell could start negotiating now. Obviously, what's his name? Gary Russell, he made a new term sheet that he never sent. He said the deadline was October, but now it's November. So he obviously have to set a new deadline because at this moment of time, his new term sheet is not even valid because he never sent it. He said that he sent it during the live or right after the live, but obviously he never did. So with that being said, the fact that he stated during the live that the deadline ends in October, that new term sheet is not even valid anymore because it's already November. So they could definitely start negotiating a fight. And Devin Haney stated that it was all smoke and mirrors when it came to Gary Russell because he didn't want to fight him. So Gary Russell, he definitely have to put Gary Russell have to put respect on his name because a lot of people are calling him out for backing out of the Devin Haney fight. And we would love to see that fight. I'm telling you, that's the fight to make if Devin can't get none of the big names at lightweight or below lightweight. So, like I said, if Gary Russell's still planning to move up, then he could definitely fight a Devin Haney because that fight will put him on the map. Right now, Gary Russell haven't been active. We'll see what's going on with his career. On the other hand, Devin, he stated on more than one occasion he's still willing to fight a Gary Russell. So Hopefully they make that fight next. Reem only done with the Gary, Mr. Cap, Russell. Love the channel, AKHi. I appreciate it, my brother. But like I said, Gary Russell really have to save face because it's not looking too good for him right now. You know, a lot of people are, you know, questioning his boogie status after pretty much Devin Haney snatched his boogeyman status out of him when he pretty much offered him exactly what he was requesting, and he ended up turning that offer down. So with that being said, like I said, I still would love to see the fight. You know, that's a big fight, and I think Gary Russell need this fight. And he, I mean, the payday is also, you know, also lovely. Devin Haney put his business out when he said that he requested 3 to 4 million. But at the end of the day, 1.5 million is still a big amount, especially in this pandemic. You know, so hopefully that fight get made. But I'm gonna go ahead and pick up one more call and, you know, make it quick because my camera about to die on me. So how you doing, AKHi? Who this is? And try to make it as quick as possible because my, you know, my camera about to die on me on my computer. Oh, Greg, what's up? What's up, Greg? What's going on?
What did you think about that Luis Ortiz fight? I know you're talking about Haney, but what did you think of Ortiz?
Oh man, I heard he knocked his opponent out in the first round, but I wasn't able to because I was watching the Devin Haney fight. What happened? Was it just a knockout?
Man, I couldn't, like, the commentators, he knocked him out so quick. It was 46 seconds. And what? I couldn't even tell what punch he hit. You know?
Did he hit him?
He hit him with this rib shot that I guess Tony Parker had hit the dude before. But I got to say, man, for 41 years old, he's still looking good.
Oh, man, that's a big statement. Who was he fighting?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know who was he fighting? Like the guy he was fighting?
He was a no name. Apparently, the dude had been knocked out by Tony Parker, or not Tony Parker, Joseph Parker before.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but it's still a good look to knock out somebody in the first round. Everybody keep talking about.
Yeah, I mean, the dude was 30. It was, bro. The fight was 46 seconds.
Yeah. Well, I didn't miss anything then. I missed that fight, but apparently I didn't miss anything.
Yeah, man. I think honestly we gotta, like, I just wish Teddy Atlas would disappear. He had the nerve to go on Twitter and say that UFC had more action than the Haney fight. And all the card and the whole card on PBC.
Wow.
I don't know if it's because he got rejected by boxing because nobody wants to train with him. He talks down on everybody. He's now trying to be in the UFC, and I unsubscribed from his podcast. Everything. I don't want nothing to do with Teddy Atlas
that's
anymore.
Messed up. I mean, supposedly a boxing expert that loved the game, and he just shit on the game of boxing. I mean, it's dishonest to say the least. I mean, you know, you could show the UFC love. I cover the UFC every now and then when there's a fighter that you know, I love to watch, but I'm not gonna shit on the sport that I love. I mean, come on, man. That's a low class type of move for him to keep shitting on boxing because he always talking about the UFC this, the UFC that. Well, okay, well, just cover UFC. Why are you talking about boxing? Why are you steady talking about boxing? I mean, I don't get it. Like, if you just prefer another sport, why don't you just talk about that sport? Why are you still covering boxing? Why are you still getting your opinion on certain matters and making a living off boxing? I hate when I see someone make a living off boxing but shit on boxing. That makes literally no sense.
He's a culture vulture.
Yeah, culture vulture. Like you said, he mad that ESPN fired him for screaming on the camera, getting
fired him.
Yeah, I mean, man, if you go back, I mean, like I said, at the end of the day, Stephen A. Smith, he don't know nothing about boxing, but when he was debating with or talking with Teddy Atlas would be looking like he about to catch a stroke, yelling at him, and it's like, bro, it ain't that serious. Just get your point across and relax. You know what I'm saying? But that I think he mad, like you said. You put it perfectly. You know, he got rejected from the sport of boxing, and now and now he's just shitting on the sport because
he's trying to be a groupie to Dana White and all that.
Yeah, and Dana White trying to come to boxing.
It's disrespectul.
Right. He's trying to be a groupie with him, and you see Dana White trying to come to boxing. So it makes no sense. So yeah. But my camera died on me, Greg. I wish you would have called in earlier, man. I don't know where you been.
Yeah, my bad, bro. I didn't even see the live just now.
Oh, okay. That's okay. Well, I'm going live this Monday, so make sure you call in and then we could chat it up. But my camera already died on me, so I'm gonna go ahead and end the show.
All right, boss.
Appreciate it, my brother. Thank you. Great talking with you. It's my man Greg from Vegas.